I'm very happy to be with you this evening. From wherever you are, welcome to us over here. The weather is getting warm, so you can see we are beginning to be less shaky. And I'm so happy to hear what Paul is saying, that in spite of the challenge of the pandemic, we have been able to keep on keeping on. And I think we should keep on exactly like that, working towards making those whose lives we touch feel a positive vibe from us. So as you remember, last week I was a bit of a truant. I did not do my part. So I'm going to be playing catch up with the questions that I have. And I encourage you to still send any questions that come about. We'll get to them. Even if the question has been asked before, we don't mind that you ask again, because we know we are periodically having new people joining. So they would appreciate the discussion to touch on things which we have done before. And we know repetition is a matter of learning, so there is no problem about repeating. So if you have a question, don't be shy to ask. If we don't know the answer, we've got means of finding out the answer. Okay. So some of the questions I had last time, or what the first one is liver cirrhosis, which is a condition that can be from a number of sources. The first one being excessive use of alcohol. It can also be from a viral infection, and it can also be from the immune system attacking the body. So unfortunately, the thing to note with this is that by the time there are clear symptoms, it means the disease has been quite advanced. So if you have a customer who has been diagnosed with the liver cirrhosis, it's important to emphasize to them that they need to act quickly, because by the time they are seeing symptoms, the damage to the liver is well underway. The first, of course, and most important thing is, if the person is using alcohol, you really need to encourage them to reduce or abstain altogether from the use of alcohol. And then from our Neolife side, we recommend that they supplement with the NutriShake or Neolife Shake, whichever one you have in your market, to give them a good supplementation of proteins, because we know proteins is what our body uses for repairing itself. So Neolife Shake or NutriShake. And then the second one is Beta-Guard, to help them in detoxing themselves. And the third one is chelated zinc, which helps in the body to heal internal wounds. So those are the three products that we would recommend for liver cirrhosis. But as I've said, if the person is a user of alcohol, it's a bit futile to take the supplements and continue using alcohol, which is causing the problem. Right. Then the next question I had was for varicose veins. These are veins, swollen veins that usually appear on the legs, and they are a result of the walls of the veins becoming weak as a result of having a rather inactive lifestyle. Maybe a person has a job where they sit a lot and don't get much of an opportunity to move around. Or it could be due to obesity, also sometimes can lead to varicose veins, and it tends to run in families. Now, unfortunately, with varicose veins, unless we get it very early when the veins are still small, in which case from Neolife we can recommend flavonoid complex. With the bigger varicose veins, the only thing that can actually really help is to have surgery to remove the big varicoses. So if the person has big varicose veins, then we don't have a supplement that can reverse that. What they would need to do is use those socks which cause pressure, and then incorporate walking in their lifestyle so they move about, because that helps with the circulation. But if they want the condition to be reversed, it would require surgery. Right, so that is from varicose veins. The supplements that we'll recommend there is flavonoid, and also it will only work if it is in the early stages of the condition. Then the next one I had was stretch marks. So stretch marks are those silvery colored lines that it can appear on the arms or on the belly or on the thighs. It's the result of the skin being overstretched. It can be due to pregnancy, when the mother's belly is, the skin on the belly is overstretched or due to weight gain. So for example, you'll see girls as they reach puberty and their bodies start to change shape, they can also start having the stretch marks. And this is not actually a disease. It's simply just that the skin has been stretched beyond its elasticity because it has been required to stretch very quickly and very much. So the lack of the stretching is beyond the elasticity of the skin. So it's not a disease as such. It's just that sometimes someone may feel a bit embarrassed about having them, but they don't do anything, and over time they will fade and not be so visible. And there are only 2 supplements which I have found that are recommended here. One is aloe vera gel to apply, and then vitamin A plus D to help improve the condition of the skin, but also to apply lotion so that the skin is supple and improves its elasticity. But once the stretch marks have appeared, I think that we don't have something that is going to erase them. Okay. It's just a matter of time. Maybe if it's from obesity, then weight loss will mean that the skin will be able to shrink again. So we won't have that overstretching and the stretch marks will not be so apparent. Or if it is an expectant mother, then with time as her body shrinks back into shape, then the stretch marks will not be so apparent. So once again, as I say, this is not an illness or a disease. It's simply a sign that the skin has had to stretch very fast and beyond its elasticity. So one thing to do to avoid stretch marks, as we can recommend in advance, is that they take good care of the skin so that it is elastic enough to accommodate the stretching. Then the next one I had was vaginal infection. And here again, it was a person did not specify, so it can be from different causes. Sometimes it's as a result of fungal infection, or it can be the result of bacteria. It is highly recommended that the person sees a doctor so as to find out what is at the bottom of the infection, because certain kind of infection require that the doctor prescribes for their medication. For example, it could be antibiotics and so on. So we recommend that they see a doctor so that they find out exactly what is the source of the infection. The thing where we come in with our own side is if the infection is a fungal infection, this can be known, especially if it keeps on recurring. Then it could be because the friendly bacteria and the balance of organisms that are friendly organisms in the body has been upset. It could be as a result of maybe some medication, because some medications, particularly antibiotics, can also upset the balance of our system, like the friendly bacteria. If the friendly bacteria are killed too much, then the bad bacteria starts growing, and they kill the bacteria that keep the fungal infection in control. So it's a matter of balancing our systems. And from the Neolife side, we recommend acidophilus, which I know is not in all the markets, but acidophilus is very important because it reintroduces the friendly bacteria, which restore the balance so that the body is able to have the correct balance, and the bad fungus that attack us and cause this infection is going to be kept down. Of course, there is some medication that the doctor can also recommend, but for a long-term solution, it's good to have the acidophilus so that the body itself is able to rectify the situation. That is when it is a fungal infection. And so acidophilus is the first one we recommend for that. The second one is garlic allium complex, which also helps in fighting unfriendly microbes in the system. And the third one can be either herbal feminine complex, or it can be botanical balance. Remember, botanical balance is the one we use for people who have got problems with sugar, that is diabetes or pre-diabetes. This is because there's recurring fungal infection in the lady's private parts is often connected to either pre-diabetes or diabetes. So it would be useful to ask the person if they have had their sugar checked. If they have got diabetes, or if they check and find that they are moving in pre-diabetes, then the botanical balance is going to help them a lot in rectifying their sugar metabolism, the use of sugar from their diet. So those are the three: acidophilus, garlic allium, and either botanical balance or herbal feminine complex. Okay, another point about that is that it's good to advise the customer not to, or the client, not to use harsh cleaning aids to clean their private parts, because that can also upset the balance and make the problem recurrent. So they should simply use warm water and clean thoroughly, but not use soaps and perfumes and whatnot, because those can actually be the source of irritation. Okay. Then the last question I have here was to do with the thyroid glands, and there were two, either hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. That is an overactive thyroid or an underactive thyroid. And these two conditions are related because they affect the same organ, the same gland, which is here in the neck. And one is that the gland is not producing enough of what it should be producing, and the other one, it is acting too much. But the reason I say that it is connected is because a lot of times it's related to the immune system. The immune system, we will remember a few weeks ago, we had the topic of a healthy immune system, and we said that we don't want a weak immune system. It's good when our immune system is strong. But if our immune system is overstressed, then it becomes confused and it starts attacking the body which it's supposed to be protecting. So for that reason, with the problem of the thyroid, either hyperactive or underactive, the important thing to do is to take care of the thing that is upsetting the immune system, which is making it attack the thyroid gland. And the first thing that I saw was recommended in terms of lifestyle is to remove grains from the diet, to see whether that is at the bottom of the problem. Because a lot of making use of a lot of grains, especially wheat and other grains like that, can be at the base of the problem. So the person, we can recommend that the person tries to eliminate the majority of grains, and they can replace it with things like arrowroots, yams. There are other alternatives to the grains, or some of the non-refined grains. We have spoken about this on several occasions. Another thing that is related to these problems of thyroid are the use of these factory oils, like the Eliantos and this company of type of oil that is made chemically made in the factory. It's better to use naturally occurring oils from plants that naturally produce oil, like coconut oil, olive oil, and even from ghee. Some of our cultures know about ghee, which is made from buttermilk. So hyperthyroidism, as we said, is an underactive one. And from the Neolife side, if the person has hyperthyroidism, we can recommend for them multimineral alfalfa, because that mineral complex is going to support the thyroid in its work. Then we also recommend vitamin B complex, because the underactive thyroid tends to make them not have enough energy, and their system does not work well to give them the energy they require. So vitamin B complex helps a lot with that. And then carotenoid complex is the third one for underactive thyroid. Okay. Then the overactive thyroid, remember, it's still the same gland, but now it's overactive. The stress is shown in that it starts producing too much of what it should produce. We still go with the multimineral alfalfa because it will help the gland to function properly. And then we stay still with the vitamin B complex. But the third one for hyperthyroidism is omega-3 salmon oil, because one of the things that happens with hyperthyroid, the overactive thyroid, is that the person becomes irritable and overstimulated and inflamed. So the omega-3 salmon oil will help with that. We recommend for the people with an hyperactive thyroid to avoid stimulants like coffee because it makes the system even more agitated. I think that is all I have for now. I had another question about full motion, which came in just now. The person wanted to know whether full motion contains something called chondroitin. It does not have this. It only has a compound called glucosamine, which is the one that has been proven to be useful for repairing the joints. And another concern for full motion is that it has got shellfish, but the way the shellfish is prepared, it is unlikely to cause a reaction in people who are allergic to shellfish, because there are some people who are quite allergic to these types of things like lobsters and so on. But the preparation is has taken that into account. It is unlikely that it will cause that reaction. Just to say, it does not contain chondroitin, it contains glucosamine and certain minerals, a mineral complex, and some herbal preparations as well. So that is one of the supplements that we recommend for joint health, which I think we'll take up in another session to speak about joint health. I think let me hand over to Pascal. I can pick up some questions again afterwards, because I think we misplaced the questions from last time. So if you had asked a question last Thursday, I think I will recommend that if you haven't got an answer yet, just put it forward again. We can include it after Pascal's session or next week's training. Thank you very much for your attention. And I will be here afterwards. If you've got a question that you want answered in this session, you can just put it through. Thanks a lot. Here is Pascal now to take it from here.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Oh, sorry, I think I see Paul is mute, so I can just go ahead with my session.
Yes, Pascal, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just give me a moment. All right. What you'd like to do today is to speak about two issues. One is showing the plan, and two, following up. But the thing that will help us to do this very effectively and build our business is the last topic that we are going to discuss, which is called persistence. Now, just a few things also I would like to mention before we go to actually discussing the showing the business. One, network marketing skills is one of the highest paid professions in the world. And the reason for this is because when you learn the skills of network marketing, you're going to influence a very large number of people. Because remember, our business is very simple. It's being able to get a large number of people doing a few simple things over an extended period of time. That is what a description of our effective network marketing business is. And the first thing we discussed last week is finding prospects. You cannot show the plan unless you have found prospects. So writing a long list, learning to have conversation with people. They also say that it takes 10,000 hours to be a master in a skill, for example, basketball, football, or music, to become a world-class professional. But in our business, you don't need 10,000 hours to be a master in our business. It takes roughly 20 hours to master a skill. For example, if you learn to do invitation for 20 hours, By the time you finish, you'll be very, very good at inviting, because one of the skills that is very important in our business is how to invite people to see the business. I remember I was reading a book. I think it must have been the GoPro, and it said a sentence that has remained in my mind until now: dig your well before you are thirsty. It simply means you need to prepare yourself before the opportunity of talking to people comes your way. You know, every single day you're going to meet new people, and if you're prepared, if you have the capacity to speak to people and get contacts, you'll be well on your way to building a good business. Okay, and you know, when you're new in the business, you sometimes hesitate to speak to people, or either you're afraid of what they will say, or they may ask you a question which you may not be able to answer. A very simple thing to do is you need to make up in numbers what you lack in skill. That means you need to speak to as many people as possible. I know one of the distributors in our team in Kenya has been working furiously to get prospects. Faith Gaira told me the other time that she invited 300 people to our meeting on Monday. And out of those, this week she has sponsored 3 people in the business. So if you've spoken to 20 people and they said no, don't worry, it's part of the game. I spoke to another distributor earlier today called Rachel. I think she's in Patricia's team. Rachel had told me that she has spoken to about 200 or 300 people, and all of them are saying no. I told her, in fact, then I know you're doing the business. If nobody's saying no, you're not doing the business at all. It is a means of weeding out people who don't like the business, or this business is not for them. So if people are saying no, you need to know that you're on the right path. Don't worry about the no's. The no's is a stepping stone to the yes. Okay, let's talk about presenting the business. One of the things that I remember Jesse said during the meeting on Monday is that it's not how well you present the business, but it's how often. How often do you present the business to new people? And there are different ways for showing the business. One, you can do it digitally, either sharing them a video link, doing an online presentation, or doing a Zoom meeting. I would recommend to all those people who are new in the business, or if you've been enrolled in the business and you haven't done a Zoom presentation, I would strongly recommend that you do at least 1 or 2 in the next 1 or 2 weeks. And the reason for that is it builds your confidence. Okay. The other way you need to show the business is doing a one-on-one presentation. One-on-one simply means you meet the person face to face. Okay, in South Africa, one-on-one at the moment is a bit of a challenge because we are still on level 3 of the lockdown. We can't meet face to face with people. But if you're in Kenya, Tanzania, Nigeria, I think you can do one-on-one. A few rules about one-on-one. Number 1, it should not take more than 15 minutes. Why is that important? Because if you spend an hour or 2 sharing the business with one person, what remains in the mind of the prospect? They begin thinking that for them to show the business, they also have to spend that much time to show the business. And it's quite easy to discourage prospects. So it's important to do the one-on-one in not more than 15 minutes. A few things you need to take into account. 1, learn to tell your story. 2, learn to ask the right questions. For example, asking the question to reveal the prospect's real need. John, our meeting will take about 15 minutes, asking what do you do? You see, when you ask such questions, the prospect reveals to you what they do and who they are and what actually their need is. Because some people may not actually want the business. They may want just to buy the products. So learn to ask the questions that reveal the need of the prospect. And also don't ask closed questions. For example, if you ask, do you work? That is a closed question. They will say, yes, I work. But if you ask, what do you do? That question prompts them to explain what they do. It's an open-ended question. Or you can ask them, would you like to see a way to make extra money? If they say yes, then you tell them, look, I'd like to show you a business that you can do part-time to generate additional income. Now, when you're telling your story, remember to first explain what you did before you started the business. 2, explain what has happened when you joined the business. Number 3, give them an idea of what to expect in the future on what the business can do. For example, if I'm explaining the business to somebody, I started the Neolife business because I was concerned about our income and our family was growing. When I became an independent distributor or Neolife distributor, we worked very hard, and because of the business, we've been able to educate our children through the business. So you explain what happened before the business, what has happened after joining the business, and how you see your business helping you in the future. And then explain what the income or the lifestyle that you have acquired since you joined the business. And the reason for that is because people want to walk in your shoes. They want to feel what you have experienced in the business. So make sure you after you told them what has happened in your business, show them the numbers. The numbers are very important because numbers attract people's mind. They want to see, does this thing really work? For example, if they have a customer and they do 100 points, to become a manager, they earn about $60 a month. If they get 6 distributors in their team, plus themselves, doing 700 points, they earn about $100 a month. If they build a director business, it's between $600 and $800 a month. If they build 3 directors, it's over $1,500 a month. So give them an idea of what the business can earn. Because some people really want to see, is this thing worthwhile? Is it worth my effort? But so you need to be able to show them what the business can do. The other way you show the business is in small groups, say 5 to 15 people. You can meet in a home, you can meet in an office, you can meet in a place where you have the latitude to explain the business. Do a product demonstration, show how the business works and the income potential. When you share your story with a passion, it actually affects people's decision-making process. Okay? If you're not convinced about the business, you will not convince anybody. People who are convicted in the business are the ones who have a very good chance to convince others that the business actually works. And then the last one is to do a large meeting. For example, when you have when you do a meeting at a venue, there are 50, 100, 200, 300 people in the audience, and an experienced speaker will present the business. Arrive early and take the front seats. Smart casual or formal dress. Ensure you carry an application form, magazine, brochure, price list. The reason it's important to carry all these things because some people make their decision on the spot. But also it's important for you to help them make that decision. How do you help them making that decision? Before we go to the follow-up, I think it's important to, when you go for a meeting, arrive on time or just about 10 or 15 minutes before the meeting arrives. You need to do that because if your prospect arrives before you, they start panicking. They start wondering, am I in the right place? Because remember, when you see a familiar face, we relax. So get to the meeting before your guest arrives for the meeting. It's very important that also you pay attention to your dress code. Remember, you have only one chance to make a first impression. Okay, so the impression you make at the meeting or the impression you make to your guest will make a big difference in your business. I would recommend that if you can, and you're going for a large meeting, pick up your prospect and go with them. And the reason for that is, as some of the distributors know, a lot of prospects have excuses. Either they've got something happening. They told you they are coming. You call them an hour before the meeting. They say you're on the way. But by the time you arrive there, their cell phone is switched off. So you need to. It's advisable that you pick them up and go with them to the meeting. In that way, I mean, when you come to their house to pick them up for the meeting, it's very hard for them to say no, to give you an excuse. Okay, so that is, pay attention to those little details when you're attending the large meeting. The other thing I would recommend, most speakers, including myself, we tell our guests the same story over and over again. Why? Because that's the story we have, and that's the story we know. You, as a distributor, take part in some of the things being said. If the speaker has said something funny, help them with a laugh. If the speaker is telling a story, show their enthusiasm for the story. And the reason for that is make the presentation lively. My opinion is most guests do not actually make the decision from the information they get. They make the decision based on the atmosphere and the attitude of the meeting. If you're a distributor, your attitude will affect your guests to a considerable level that they make the decision based on your own attitude. So pay attention to your own attitude. Follow-up. Follow-up is very important, and I think this is where a lot of distributors miss their prospects because they don't follow up. Just from reading about follow-up, 48% of distributors worldwide never follow up on their prospects, and that is very sad. Because you show somebody the business, you don't follow up. They may just want a little encouragement or a little clarification before they decide to join the business. 25% make the second contact. 12% make the third contact. If you add all this, that's 72%, 84% do not make three or more, do not make more than three contacts. And so it means we lose a lot of our prospects because we don't follow up. 80% of sales or distributors who join the business join after you've made between 5 and 12 follow-ups before they say yes. And I have many examples of very successful distributors who have followed up. One of them is Adelina Machado from Mozambique. She was telling us in a meeting that one of her students used to tell her about the meeting so many times until she got tired of it and said, okay, let me just come to the meeting. Adelina now is a 4Ruby director. Another one is Louis Smith. I think a number of you know Louis Smith is at the moment in the USA. Louis Smith, their sponsor called Andy Murray, used to call them so many times that anytime Louis Smith had the phone ringing, he would tell his wife, answer the phone. Until he got tired of it and told his wife, okay, you're the one going for the meeting, and they went for the meeting. Well, there's a long and funny story behind it, but now Louis Smith is a one-diamond director in the USA. So persistence, keep following up on their prospects, okay? And the follow-up should be immediate, enthusiastic, persistent, and consistent. Why is that important? Because when somebody has seen the business, the information is still fresh in their mind. They are still a bit enthusiastic about the business. So if you follow up immediately, their chances of saying yes to the business is very, very high. And there are 4 key questions you need to ask your prospects when you're doing the follow-up. The one of them is, if somebody has seen the business, it's important not to ask them what they think. Because remember, they don't know what the business can do. So we recommend the following 4 questions. 1, did the business make sense? The reason you ask that question, it gives you a chance to explain what the prospects did not understand. If they say yes, it made sense, the next question is, what did you like most about the business? You ask it that way because you want to elicit only positive response from your prospect. What did you like most about the business? The third question, do you see an opportunity for you to make money or have better health or achieve your dreams to do the business? If they say yes, then they've given you a sign that they're actually ready to start. You can tell them, okay, let's do the paperwork. Get your form, give them a pen to sign the form, ask them, are you going to pay by cash or are you going to do M-Pesa if you're in a region where there is mobile payments. Sometimes distributors are afraid to ask prospects for money. Do not be shy about asking for money. Ask, when would you like to pay? Or can I come tomorrow to collect the money? Or are you going to send me the money so that you can get you started? It's important to ask that question, because if you neglect to ask the question, the prospect might not know what next to do. They may have decided, but because you're afraid to ask the question, they don't volunteer to get started. So ask that question. When do you want to start? Are you going to pay now by mobile money, or are you going to pay cash, or are you going to do electronic transfer to the company's bank account? There are different ways of asking the prospects to start the business. So make sure you have done the prospect. They say that follow-up, in the follow-up is a fortune. First is you need to show the business. Exposure leads to business growth. But to actually earn the fortune is in the follow-up. Make sure you have a system to keep track of who you're following up. And remember, prospecting is a process. It's not a thing it's not a goal. It's a process that you get a prospect from a suspect to a prospect to a distributor. That simple process means that you need to keep track of which stage is a distributor in that process of sponsoring, in that process of getting to start the business. The last thing I'd like to discuss with you is persistence. I think the reason why I thought about this topic is it's very, very important to success in any venture, whether you are in you're starting a business or you're training or you're studying, whatever it is you're doing requires persistence. It is an engine for success. Yesterday in the morning when I went jogging, I was passing under a tree and I saw a little bird which was struggling with, now in South Africa is winter and everything, most of the things are brown. So the bird was struggling with a blade of grass, quite a long one. It picked up the blade of grass, flew about 1 meter from the ground, then the blade of grass fell from its beak. It flew down again, picked up the same, went up, but it was too heavy for it. It came down again. It did that about 6 times, but this time it had arrested my attention. So I actually stopped to observe. So the 7th time it tried to fly, the piece of grass dropped again from its beak. It came down, took the blade of grass with its beak and shook it very vigorously until the blade of grass split in 2. So it picked up the longer one and flew over the fence. But when it's about 2 meters in the air, the piece of the blade of grass again fell down. It flew back down to the ground, picked it up with its beak, and flew until it perched on a tree. Then I noticed where it was making its nest. And I began thinking about persistence. I began to think about how we build our business. Prospects are going to tell you no. Some will promise you things that they don't do, but you need to be persistent. I mean, for me, it was a big lesson from a little bird who didn't even realize it was teaching me a lesson. Persistence is very, very important for our business. Or if you want success in any venture, in any field, you have to be persistent. Okay? Persistent is repetition of an action until the final goal is achieved. Number 1, it is based on the power of the will. That is a decision to do something. Sometimes you may say that you have a weak will, or some people have a strong will, but having a strong will is something you can actually develop. Okay, so persistence is based on a power of the will. Number two, you need to have a definite goal. Why are you in the business? What is it that you want to achieve? Don't just say, I want to make a lot of money. How much money do you want to make? What do you want to achieve in the business? For example, your goal is to be a 2Ruby director or to become a director. Whatever it is, you need to write the goal down. And the reason for that is so that you can see it every day. It gives you something to work towards. The third thing you need is to have a definite plan in writing. For example, if you want to be a director, it's a big challenge to be a director by just selling products. I know some people have done. I mean, when we were doing recognition about a month ago, I think somebody called Bella in Kenya did over 5,000 personal PV. So we just selling products, you can become a director. But if you want to build a stable business, if you want to be a software director, I want to be director, you have to build a team. Okay, so a definite plan means that you know what you want to do. If you want to sponsor people, first you need to have a name list. Number two, you need to be able to contact people on that name list. Number three, invite them to see the business. Number four, show them the business. Number five, follow up on the business. The plan has to be clear and precise. If it's not clear, you won't be able to do it. If the promise is clear, the future is easy. The other thing that helps you develop persistence is having an intense desire. You see, there's a difference between wishing and having an intense desire. And the reason for this is this. If you're wishing for something, there's nothing that pushes you to go the extra mile. But if you have an intense desire, it means you're willing to do everything that is required to become successful. And remember, persistence is actually a habit. Because if you do something repeatedly, it eventually becomes a habit. I know a number of you who are watching this presentation know how to drive. But if you think about it, think about what you actually do when you're driving. There's so many complicated things or motions that you do without actually thinking. Walking into the car, putting the key in the, or if it's a remote control, you open the door, you sit on the seat, you put on your seat belt, you engage the gear, you start the engine, you step on the clutch, you control your accelerator. Some of these things you do it automatically. Why? Because it has become a habit. Something which is repeated many times becomes a habit. And a very important thing you need to do for persistence is to what I call identify a mastermind group. What is that? A mastermind group are people who have the same thinking and have got the same goal. For example, your team members. Your team members or distributors that every week or every month you sit down and each person sets a goal. And you encourage each other to go for the same goal, sponsoring new distributors. That is called a mastermind group. A mastermind group are people whose thought process or attitude is the same because they're going after the same goal. And that is why it's important in our training group, we discourage negative thinking. A friend of one of our distributors called me the other day, and he was feeling a challenge, and he started to apologize that he's being negative. Well, no, remember our rule in the business: if you're down, speak to your upline. If you're excited, speak to your downline. That's a rule. We don't say that you shouldn't complain, but speak to your sponsor who is excited about life if you have something negative to speak about, because all of us go through challenges. Okay, so identify a mastermind group of people who have the same thinking for success. You know, I like to read biographies, and the one that I've just finished reading is former retired Navy SEAL David Goggins, and he's done some incredible things. One of them is he broke the world record of pull-ups. When he was attempting it, the world record for pull-ups is 4,020 pull-ups within a 24-hour period. And he attempted it 3 times and failed. And each time he attempted it, his hands were so sore and bruised that they started bleeding. But to achieve this goal, he did 67,000 pull-ups in preparation for this attempt. For me, that is what I call persistence. Persistence is doing the same thing until you achieve the results that you want. And the more you do it, the more it becomes a habit for you to succeed. The bottom line is you need to take action. The key thing that separates everybody else from really successful leaders is action. Action is a key word. So Paul, I want to hand over back to you. I think there are some issues or questions that Betty would like to address. If I see the chart, there are quite a number of issues that. Betty also has some in her phone that she'd like to attend to. So I will hand over back to Betty. Okay. Sorry. All right.
Hi, I'm back. So I had a few questions which are related, so I thought I'd just do them together. First one is on fibroids. And just to say that fibroids can be caused by a herpes virus, which is a common virus that affects the reproductive system. It can also be due to hormonal imbalance, and it also, some people say that certain kinds of plastic. So it's good to be careful with using plastic, just like for drinking and so on. So there has been some idea that plastic residues can be linked to fibroids. Fibroids in themselves are harmless, but what they do is if they become very large, they can reduce fertility. And one of the recommendations for lifestyle changes is to avoid alcohol as well as processed foods, and to increase intake of fresh fruits and vegetables. Then from the Neolife side, we recommend Betagard to help with detoxing, detoxing the liver and the systems. And then multiminerals is also useful, and herbal feminine complex to restore the hormonal balance. Then the next one is also of the reproductive side, which is PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, which is a condition in which there are swellings in the ovaries. And this is another one which reduces fertility. It is associated also with absence of periods or irregular periods. And it has been linked to diabetes or prediabetes. Okay, so that diabetic aspect is good to look into. Lifestyle recommendations that we have are to improve the diet by eliminating sugar and processed foods and eating a healthier diet, plus increasing level of activities. And then on our supplements, we recommend, again, herbal feminine complex, because we know this helps to balance out the hormones in the ladies' system. And botanical balance to help in regulating the sugar, especially if there is pre-diabetes or diabetes. And the third one is Pro-Vitality, which has got omega-3 to fight inflammation, carotenoid complex to fight to fight as an antioxidant, and also the supplement. We have Trianen in there, and the multi. So these ones will provide the nutritional supplementation for the person. So those are the ones for PCOS, just to note that it can be linked to diabetes. Then the last one in this group is impotence or erectile dysfunction, which is the inability to have or to maintain an erection on the side of the men. And the causes can be stress, obesity, or high blood pressure, and also certain medications that are used for high blood pressure. Because they reduce the blood pressure in the body, they can also reduce the blood pressure in the reproductive parts and can lead to failure to form an erection. And lifestyle recommendations that we have for this is increase of exercise. And if the gentleman is obese, weight loss, so we recommend that they work towards increasing their level of exercise and improving their diet so that they don't carry too much fat. And also the lack of exercise and muscles in men reduces the male hormone, which is called testosterone. So it is important for the gents to have certain activities that maintain or build up their muscles. Then on our supplement side, what we recommend for the gents here with this condition is masculine herbal complex to stabilize the male hormones. Number 2 is chelated zinc, also to support the hormone production, and omega-3 salmon oil, which improves the blood vessels and the blood. And if the person is dealing with stress, then one of the ways we can help in stress reduction is aloe vera plus. Okay. So I think that's the total of that I have now. And just to finish my part by encouraging you very much as we move towards month end, not to let the stress get you down, to know that every PV that you have means that you have been a positive contribution to someone's life. Every PV means that someone has benefited from our business. So maybe it's very tough for you right now and you are stressing a bit, but I will encourage you to know that you are on the right track. And as Pascal says, we need to keep on persisting and not get tired and give up, because the need is great and we have the opportunity. So once again, let me encourage you to keep sending the questions and to keep attending training and to be committed to learning more and more about our business so that you can do it better and better. I'm very grateful to be a part of your training this evening. And I think I'll hand back over to Pascal and Paul so they can close the meeting. And I look forward to seeing you again next Thursday, maybe with your new distributors, so that we can learn more and do more. Thanks very much. Good night and have a good month end. Bye.
Thank you so much, Betty and Pascal, for such a wonderful session. We are grateful. I can see from the comments, people have really learned a lot, and we appreciate, you taking time off your busy schedule to come and share with us. This has really given us a lot of knowledge and encouragement in terms of, us trying to continue to do our business. So thank you so much. I see we still have some more questions coming in. That's not a problem. We'll be able to answer them on Tuesday, on Thursday next week, as Betty has been able to promise. So just put them down. We'll be able to look at the charts later after this meeting, and then we can be able to pick each and every question and be able to answer it. So from me, thank you so much. I want to get Pascal back so that he can be able to close our meeting. Pascal, if you can hear me.
Yes, Paul, I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you very much, all of you, the ones who have attended this training session. I just want to encourage you. I know month end is coming next week, Monday, Tuesday. We say in our business, it's not over until it's over. So do the little that you can within the next few days and get your business running. Even if you haven't received your goal, but at least you're doing something towards your goal, your business will grow. So I want to thank you very much for attending this meeting. Those of you who are guests, I saw somebody posted a message that they've sponsored somebody in Australia. Congratulations. We really appreciate you. This is my prediction that this Neolife distributors from East Africa, West Africa, Southern Africa, we are going to conquer the rest of the world. The largest distributorships are going to come from people attending these meetings, that will cover the whole of USA, Europe, Australia, Asia. This is going to be the largest group of distributors in the world. So I want to thank you very much. God bless you. See you next week, Monday, for the presentation. Everybody who is watching this, make it a goal to invite at least 20 people for the Monday presentations. And I'm going to request Paul that we increase our capacity for the meeting, because on Monday I saw we reached 500 and no people could not log in anymore. So we want to get this